Every week or two, I tend to see a post about how bad the new player experience is. Well, they're right. The learning curve on Dota is massive, and they don't do too much to help the new players, just like every Valve game. But first, let me thank Valve for the 6-month bans. Remember the last video about how it complained about needing harsher punishments? They even fixed a bug that made it so you can't control AFK players after 5 minutes, which I complained about in this post. Good on you, Valve. Good on you. Back to the point. In this most recent post, this happened like a month ago, about the new player experience, the person talks about how he is queued up with Smurfs and high-level players, with various quotes ranging from "Dota, what the fuck," "This is not just a bad new player experience," and finally, of course, the textbook, "Literally unplayable." The best way to fix this problem is to get more players, or should I say keep more players. Be prepared because there's a lot I like to say on this issue. So the main tutorial is simple and inefficient. Let's go through it step by step to see what we get taught. When you first load up, it welcomes you with some basic information, such as summons damaging beams from the sky, and that you were playing for the Radiant and fighting for the Dire. Let's click continue. Now it tells you that you begin at the fountain, and if you die, you respawn there, along with how it restores health and mana. Once again, let's click continue. So now we have the basic movements, attacks, and edge panning. One small gripe is how it tells you to center your screen with S. Right now I have my center button on F, so this would need to become soft-coded. Once we complete this, we get our first order, and that's to move to the arrow. One thing that happened to a friend is that he couldn't find the arrow for a little bit. Maybe he's just blind, but one thing they could do is make it so the indication arrow shows up always, not just when the objective is off screen. Not too big of a gripe, but something that could be useful. We get to the objective, and it tells us what the ancient is. You also have starting gold apparently, and need to spend it, so go back to the fountain. Once you reach the fountain, the little indication at the top left says to open the shop in the lower corner of the screen. Here we could get some sort of highlight or visual cue on the gold bar, and also add, you can use X key in that direction. Let's go ahead and buy the starting items as prompted. The next cue isn't one I like. It gives you the rundown on tangos, healing solve, and clarities, so basically consumables. I think this should be addressed later on. Prompt number 8 tells us about the map. Real simple, straight to the point. I like it. Let's go ahead and move to the racks. Here we get the rundown on creeps. Foot soldier, blah blah blah, next. We get this statement. Try to position yourself so that the creeps receive any enemy attacks. I feel like this is a weird thing to tell a new player. It's more something like it should be learned from experience. Let's go ahead and follow the creeps. The info card now tells us, unlike last hit bounties, which a person new to MOBAs would have no clue what those are. You may say it's self-explanatory, but when I got my sister to play this, she had no clue. It then continues explaining experience. Simply right-click an enemy. Okay, let's go on right-click enemies until we level up. Oh, I like this a lot. It tells you when the creeps are aggroed on you. It's beautiful. We're level 2 now, so it tells you about abilities. Again, give us an indication where to click. Considering a new player might try to level up Moonglaves, it would be pretty nice. Oh, update this too. The new player now reads how to activate an ability and about passives. We also get this beauty, not bound. Just to be clear, I don't know if this is effective on new players, but if they do end up changing their keybinds, then it might show up. Once you use the spell, it tells you about towers, and to kill a tower to complete the tutorial. Oh, if the tower targets you, it will show the range. If you do take too much damage from one, it will also tell you to back up. Another thing that can be missed is that it also tells you about gold loss and the death timer, but only when you die. Next up we get 3 solo bot matches. This is where we see a lot of issues, a lot of things that the tutorial misses. Let's do some testing. We get into a match and get the ban phase, which shouldn't be there. Just load us into a DK game automatically. Don't scare the player away with that screen quite yet. So if we walk outside the base with no items, it won't do anything. There should be some sort of notification on the left side that says, hey, you forgot your starting items. Nothing that pauses the game, but just a reminder. Let's head to the bot lane. Time for the next test. Let's attack a hero. So, where did the creep aggro notifications go? Not only would this tell you when to run, But it also would teach you that right-clicking a hero will call the aggro. Why get rid of this in the second tutorial? What the fuck? To a jungle camp. We have no clue that these existed. Prompt us once we get by one. What does it do? What does it grant you? Etc. Wait, we're right by another thing that's pretty important we don't know about. A bounty rune. More prompts, please. Let's continue into our jungle and find the neat-looking building. Can you guess what it doesn't tell you about this building? Anything. It's basically a tree to a no player. A fun little well of sorts. You don't know how many times my friends have asked, what's a shrine? How about the specialty rune spot? Let's go grab one of them. Prompt us what each rune does. The last thing to test is what happens if we go near Roche. You got it, right? Nothing. One of the biggest objectives in the game, and a new player coming from the tutorial has no clue anything about it. So yeah, this is literally just a game of turbo with bots. The funniest part is all the things I talked about are only things on the map. I mean, at this point, a new player wouldn't know what glyph of fortification is, what the courier is, let alone how to use it, what talents are, even different shops and denies aren't taught. A big thing that a lot of people seem to miss is the attributes. It's insane because you only see what they do when you're on the tutorial description, not inside of it. No matter which new player it is, be it someone I got to try the game or someone I somehow queued up with, they don't know what attributes are. It's too easy to miss. Now, what would I do with the second tutorial? Well, you're gonna have to check back sometime within the next week. It explains what I think they need to add and some other helpful things. Yes, I've done it. I've ended the video abruptly with a check back sometime, blah blah blah. I had to do it at least one time. Because of this, the first 2 people who send me a video of getting a score higher than 3,000 in the last hit trainer will get a $20 Steam gift card. The trick is that you have to do it on techies. Oh, god damn it.